Welcome to the Creole Collective podcast, everyone. Again, we are so thankful just to have you listening in and clicking on the feed here. This is Mr. Mike Gerald, and I am Mr. Jeff Pankratz. We are the Mike and the Jeff. How you doing, Mr. Mike?
You just got to take our word for that. It's true.
Yeah. I always wonder, like, if someone writes to us and is like, "Hey, I know you're the Jeff, but is he really the Mike? Come on, you have to prove it. You'll do like a voice match technology or something."
It's all true. I'm not deep faked. I'm not a bot. I'm not a robot. It's all true.
AI generator, whatever. Man, that's some scary stuff though with the AI, artificial intelligence generation stuff they're coming up with people's whole like voices and personalities being mimicked. That's quite scary.
We're getting off track. Get us back, Jeff.
Okay. Anybody else concerned about that? You got to write me in. Write in a question about AI. All right, I'll get us back. Let's get us back. Hey Mike, speaking of like people like caring about fact checking and checking our resources. Every week we've been recording these podcasts, and we are kind of going back to the source of just the early church model of these one another's, and each of them is kind of like going back and like, let's check our facts, let's check our sources here. We want to make sure we're doing the things that, what would you say, Jesus followers are called to do, and especially in our culture. But before we jump into the one another for today, which is everyone having an equal concern for one another or the same care for one another, in 1 Corinthians 12:25. Mike, we start off on a little story from the week. So I need a good one from you, Mr. Gerald. The story from the week. What do you got for us, man?
Man, I think probably my highlight yesterday was talking to a woman in our neighborhood who she owns a junk hauling business. And she's friends of ours. Her daughter's really good friends with my daughter. Her sons are really good friends with my sons, or with my son. And so there are all these connections, her kids, my kids. Anyway.
Yeah.
There's another guy in our city who has removed something like, I'm probably downplaying it, like 40 dumpsters of trash from like a rough part of the city. And so he does this like cleaning up the neighborhood by removing trash. And, they do other stuff like laundromat and urban garden and coffee roaster. But he's doing a lot of like removing trash off the streets. So she and I got talking, and I'm like, I think when we see what we do as a part of what God is up to in our city, in our neighborhood, when we collaborate together, we can do a lot of good together.
Yeah, I love that.
And so now she has offered a couple of her trucks for junk removal to go down into the rough part of the city each month to help remove trash and junk off the streets.
Wow.
And so she's now identifying her junk removal business, not just as a business to make money, but as like a part of God's kingdom work in the city.
That's good.
And so that's beautiful, man. I think a large part of our job is just connecting dots. All I did was go, hey, meet this good person. You have a dream to use your business, your gifts, to be a part of what God's up to in this city.
Yeah.
So why don't we connect you? You got trucks, you got opportunity. And then this guy is trying to do the work in this part of the city. Why don't we just combine some effort here? And man, that just made me emotional thinking about the potential when you get everybody involved. People who are doing a variety of different things and own different businesses and have different skills. and you just connect them with each other, and you sit back and you drink your kombucha. You're good to go.
You always drink your kombucha once you connect people with garbage cleanup.
Dude, I don't drink it, but I'm just trying to appeal to a different crowd right now, Jeff.
The kombucha drinkers are listening and they're rejoicing right now. And they're
I mean,
so
I'm not against it. I've had it before, but I feel like I always talk about beer and coffee, and I had
yeah,
to
yeah.
switch it up,
Mix
man.
it up. I like that. I like that. We actually brewed our own kombucha last year and it's amazing. So kombucha people, let's hear from you. And you might be
Sweet.
inspired to go clean up your neighborhood garbage now, all you kombucha people, because we made the
Hmm.
connection there.
I feel like if they're kombucha people, they're probably already a part of that effort.
Yeah, probably,
They
probably.
care about that stuff, man.
Yeah, yep, 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 definitely. It's good stewards of their natural resources. Hey, I love that story, bro, because it highlights what we're kind of going to dig into today about people's different giftings and resources and all kind of throwing in together and honoring each other and building each other up. My story real quick is just we talked about this before we jumped on the recording here. But we're kind of a polar opposite as far as cultural dynamics. You're in the Philly area. I'm in rural Minnesota, and we have a little bit of a larger of a city that we kind of rotate around, but it's pretty rural still. And one of our local grocery stores shut down. Actually, the grocery store in my little rural town here in Minnesota, and so we were just kind of concerned for just a bunch of us in our micro church and other friends concerned for the elderly families that depended on that little store. Some would just like walk from their little home, in this little downtown, super small little town, and they would just walk over to the store and get their milk and eggs. And then a few of us in town have just started talking with our local food shelf, which is in the bigger town next to us, about a delivery system and just people putting in their best ideas and their resources. And hey, I usually drive to this bigger city anyways for work. Why can't I just load up my back of my car and help out? So it's been a really cool week, just kind of discovering all the different ways we can maybe help people get some groceries that really depend on that. So just fun. Both stories kind of highlight that beauty of everyone's got something to throw in, right?
Yeah, it just sounds like the heart of it is if I see someone in need and I can do something about it, I'm just going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Just do it. That sounds like a
Just,
familiar slogan.
just go for it, man. There's a lot of talk. Like, I just get tired of the talk, man.
Oh
There
yeah.
are so many just people talking, Bible studies and classes and conversations, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of talk.
Yeah.
It's like I just want to hear a story. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it and
Yep.
talk about what was just done.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about a story. I get tired of just people talking all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. The gal that's managing she's the one, kind of the point person that's managing this food delivery idea. When I said we have all these people with cars ready to go, she's just like, really? Like people are actually ready just to do this, and they don't really care about putting their names in the newspaper or some big organizational project. Like, no, we have just people with cars and they're ready to go. So you tell us when to go. And so she was she was just like, okay, let's do this. So it was pretty
I
cool.
Jeff, I honestly think that there's so many people that just don't know what next step to take.
Hmm. Yeah.
And we just got to tell them, like,
Hmm.
hey, would you mind like picking up extra groceries and delivering them to this location?
Hmm.
I think there's a whole bunch of people that would do that.
Hmm.
But I think that we almost feel like when we see a need, we have to meet it,
Yeah.
which is not very scalable. There's like 100 people sitting that don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What if we thought about the potential of like tapping a bunch of people that want to help but don't know where or how?
Yeah.
What if we started connecting like resources with needs?
Yep. Yep.
People with gifts, and you were the whisperer. Like, dude, you can do this. Why don't you step into this?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
unleashing a whole army, bro.
Yeah. Super simple, but like your story, people are used to depending on the city to clean up the city streets. It's the city's job. It's not my job. Or it's the county's job to bring groceries to the elderly. It's not my job. And the church, I believe, just in my heart, like needs to be the first. I think that's what Jesus was talking about, being a city on a hill. Like you guys have enough resources. You are the light of the world. Like go make a difference. Like go do it. Don't ask questions. Just go do it. you know.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just go do it.
Yeah.
It goes back to that statement: the best criticism of the bad is the practice of the better. We can sit around and like moan about the way things are and what ought to be done, or we could just go do it and tell the stories.
Yeah.
And stories capture imaginations and invite people to join us.
Yeah.
Dude, why don't you join us? We're going to go do this next week.
Right.
We got some people that have this need. Why don't we sign up and take a team? You got this small group that's sitting in a traditional church that doesn't take action. Why don't you get behind this effort that we're doing on Saturday morning and bring your whole team down and come serve this group of people together? And then they get an imagination for a faith that isn't just sitting and stagnant, but active and engaged.
I love it. And then we can have the party afterwards to drink our homemade kombucha with each other.
Whatever. Yeah, man. Whatever. I know in your setting, you just have to like drink it out of a horn.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be horn. And it's not kombucha. It's my homemade mead out of my horn.
That's it. It doesn't matter. You guys probably drink, orange juice out of a horn.
Yeah.
It's just how it's done up there.
I woke up this morning and all three of my boys were on the couch with their horns full of their orange juice.
That's it. I knew it. That's what I picture when I imagine your family in the morning.
Yeah. And just with their furry hats and oh my goodness. Hey Mike, today, so this is a great segue, man. This is like a slam dunk. And just kind of going into 1 Corinthians 12. So I'm just going to read it and I'm going to ask you a couple questions. What do you think Paul meant, when he was writing this? But yeah, people throwing in to the body of Christ, being one body, and each of us members of that one body. So I'm just going to read here. Don't have time to go through the whole chapter, but this is what we're talking about today, one another on 1 Corinthians 12:25. So I'm going to read the paragraph around that. But he says, the eye can't say to the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. On the contrary, the parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable, and on those parts of the body that we think less honorable, we bestow the greater honor, and our unpresentable parts are treated with greater modesty, which our more presentable parts do not require. But God has so composed the body, giving greater honor to the parts that lacked it, that there be no division in the body, but that the members may have the same care for one another. If one member suffers, all suffer together. If one member is honored, all rejoice together. So what in the heck do you think Paul's talking about, Mr. Mike?
Yeah, man, I think that if you imagine Paul's a missionary, man. He's like traveling and establishing things and starting things and raising up leaders and leaving. And his greater concern is not the viability of like a local organization. It's the mission of God in the world. That's what he's thinking about.
Yeah.
And so when he writes and addresses believers in different cities, the goal is like, if we're going to get the job done, I'm not good at everything, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
You're not good at everything. And we're really like not even going to make a dent unless we get everyone engaged. And everyone's got a part to play. Yeah. And there are typically people that have incredible ideas, value, and gifting that don't get much of a voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a huge part of our job or role is to like give voice to the voiceless, to give validity to people that have really great gifts and ideas that are never given the freaking time of day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we got to do that. We got to go, these are people that have incredible value, made in the image of God. Their ideas are different. their gifts are maybe not appreciated,
Mhm.
but we got to give these people the spotlight. We got to praise what God's up to in their context. We got to encourage everybody to play. Otherwise, like, we're going to be incredibly limited in what we're able to accomplish in
Mm,
this place.
yeah. So how, okay, I agree with all that, bro, and I love it. I really love it. I love where you're going with that. But my like even more fundamental thing in my brain when I hear that little passage is like, okay, so Paul's assuming something about us. He's assuming that we know who the foot is, that we know who the liver is, that we know who the tendons are. He's assuming that we know the parts of the body, or we know each other's giftedness, we know each other's strengths, we know each other's roles or passions. So how do we get there in the first place? Because I don't know about you, but my church experience isn't so much like, oh yeah, I know each other's gifting strengths. I know all this. I know when people are suffering, so I can suffer with them. I actually know them, the people that are suffering. I know the people that are being celebrated, so I can celebrate with them. Like, but so he's assuming. It seems like to me he's assuming a lot. So how do we even begin to know people like this? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, you're hitting at the bigger issue, and you're good at this. And I think it's a whole new operating system. It's a whole new wineskin. Like, people don't even know they don't even know what they're passionate about. They haven't even taken the time, many people, to think about, like, what does God design me for? What gets me excited? Like, you ask those questions and they start having thoughts they've never had before.
Yeah.
And I think that many people are just accustomed to environments of passivity. And, I'm just going to, like, sit here as a spectator consumer, and there's only a few people that play.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I think we need to sit and we need to listen, dude. We need to shut up and we need to listen.
Yeah.
Like, what, like, where do you live? What do you not like? What gets you excited? What are your passions? How has God designed you and wired you?
Mhm.
We need to, like, become aware of, get to know our people and help them tap in to
Mhm.
the God-given dreams that are inside of them, and then walk with them so that they can live into that.
Mhm.
But yeah, you're right. I think a number of people just don't even know, dude. They don't even
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and they're underutilized. And you got a few people that are burnt out trying to get everything done. And you
Mhm.
got a whole bunch of people that feel underutilized,
Mhm.
like not good enough, unqualified, and devalued.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, we
And
gotta like we
yeah.
gotta like light up the Christmas tree, because we got like a couple strands that are going,
Right.
but most of the tree is like not lit up at all.
Yeah, and that's a good way to look at it. When I see like a Christmas tree light strand, and the bulbs, the one bulb in the middle or the two bulbs in the middle are burnt out, they can't really fix themselves. They're kind of like, we're burnt out. So in the best environments I've seen this in my life, being 46, seeing a few things in my lifetime, the best environments I've seen are where people kind of call that out in each other. They're like, you know what, Larissa, you have a passion for prayer, and like you have this wisdom, discernment, like you can just sense God's leading in a really strong way. And when you speak to me, I just feel like God's speaking directly to my soul. Or you know what, Julie, you just have this passion for teaching, and you're an incredible teacher. You have an ability to convey truth in a way that I've never really seen before. So it seems like that's got to be part of the picture. Am I way off? Like helping other people get called out a little bit in a friendly, encouraging, exhorting way where they don't feel like completely put on the spot and
Dude,
embarrassed.
you're right. It's observation, man. Like, part of it is we don't know each other well.
Yeah.
Like, you know people, you share life with them, you go, dude, you're always volunteering, you're always helping with kids, you're always coaching.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think God wants you to, like, do something in this city that helps and blesses kids and families? Like, how do we get behind that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you just observe things, and dude, you're always like gathering people. You've got like a bunch of people hanging out for parties and holiday parties and weekends and
Mhm.
hanging out in your garage drinking beers, and like you just pull people together and people love to hang out
Yeah.
with you and you're a
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
Like, do you think like God wants to do something with that?
Yeah.
Like I think it's like observation when we're in relation, like, dude, when people are going through something, you're always there with,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
a bag of cookies or something. Like I just have never seen someone that is so aware of, the needs of others the way that
Mhm.
you are.
Yeah.
What do you think God is trying to do through you in this neighborhood on this block? And so, yeah, I agree, man. I think it's like awareness and listening and deeper connection with people that you call out. Like, yeah, dude, I see this in you.
Mhm.
Or,
Yeah. Yeah. And that takes like that just takes super, again, I'm the broken record on this, but we need amazing relational spaces, common spaces. We're so atomized as a culture, like we're all shot off like atoms into the universe. We're so individualized, and everyone's on their phones, and we have very few shared spaces together to call that out in each other. And so, whatever you can do, and maybe someone's listening, like, you know what, I'm trying to think of a space where we could like call it out with each other, like even a friend over a coffee or two or three over a lunch, um, and like make it a point. Like I'm gonna be observing, and I'm gonna call these things out, these giftings, these resources, and I just think we need more shared spaces where the best shared space is when that's happened. All of a sudden, the people just light up with like, he sees me or she sees me, or oh my goodness, I didn't really have a word to describe my gifting or my passion or my abilities like that. But when that person said that about me, like you can see their joy and their self confidence just like shoot up a million.
and maybe you, listener, whoever's listening, maybe you weren't complimented a lot.
Hmm.
And so maybe you don't by default praise other people
Yeah,
because it's like not what you're used to. I
yeah,
mean, I say this, Jeff, like I think a lot of good things about people, but I don't usually tell them.
right, yeah,
So I'll like gossip positively to my wife about people. Like, man, I really like that guy. Or man, she is just like dynamic.
mm,
I don't usually tell him or her,
hmm,
but I think it. Like we got to start like
yeah,
telling people the good things we think about them.
yeah. You
And
know,
I think it's like a new habit to learn, especially if you're not accustomed to it and
yeah.
you haven't typically sung the praises of other people to them.
I think you're hitting at the antithesis where we usually go with these podcasts is, Mike, what's the antithesis of this? I think you just hit it. Like we think it all day long. And we're like, oh, I appreciate that person, but we rarely speak it out loud. And so I'm thinking you're just, yeah, I think you hit that one right on the nail. We've got to consciously, it's already in our subconscious, but consciously we have to make the decision. Dang it, whether come hell or high water, I'm going to call this person or I'm going to have a lunch with this person and tell them, here's what I see. And I love it.
And it's weird, man. Like people aren't used to compliments. They're used to complaints.
Hmm.
They're not used to compliments. And sometimes people don't know what to do with a compliment.
Hmm.
Like if I compliment my own wife, like she like argues with me about my compliment. Like she doesn't like take it well. She'll like, not really accept my
What are you
compliment.
trying to get from
she
me?
won't she won't really respond to my compliment. But then if I quit giving compliments, she's like, what's wrong? Why aren't you saying anything? Right. So I think people need to be affirmed and
Yeah.
complimented and encouraged.
Hmm.
And oftentimes when you do it, you don't see an immediate return or feel like people appreciate it.
Hmm.
But we gotta start to kind of build that culture
Yeah. Yeah.
regardless,
Right.
because
Right.
people need affirmation. They need their
Mhm.
gifts called out.
Yes. That verb there, if people are look it up later in the Greek, but I'm just kind of the weird Greek word guy, but merimnao is the Greek word there for concern or care for one another. And I just clicked on it on the Strong's number there, but over half of the uses of that word were in Jesus' Sermon on the Mount when he says, don't be concerned about what you eat or drink or wear, all those, don't be concerned about your life, all that kind of stuff. And Jesus like, God the Father knows your needs. He's going to take care of you like the birds and the flowers and all that. So I find it interesting that the same descriptor, the same verb to worry, to be anxious, the positive side of this verb Paul uses here is to show that same kind of concern for each other. And I just love that. So we can turn that self-worry, anxiety into something positive where we're actually thinking about other people and how to honor them and suffer with them and build them up and, call them out when we see the giftings and things being used. So I love how it's the same verb there. Any thoughts on that?
It sounds a little bit like turning that frown upside down, Jeff.
There you go. Yeah. Perfectly said. Yeah, that's a
man. Like
that's in the original Greek as well, I think.
I think what we're getting at, Jeff, is like we tend to think of gifts as being outside of people. Like you're sort of neutral, Jeff, but you've got like this gift that makes you valuable. Instead of, the passage says that God has given these gifts to the church. He's talking about the people are the gifts. Jeff, you are a gift. It's not that you have a gift, you are a gift. And the way that God has like designed you, wired you, your passions, your calling, the way that you view the world is a gift to us. Like you are a gift to us, right? So we have to start to see people as treasures, not as people possessing treasures, but people are treasures. Their very presence, their very place in our life is a treasure. Mm-hmm. And so when we start valuing people as being like treasure, laying up treasures in heaven, we're talking about like people.
Yeah.
It's like a really beautiful image of like you're my inheritance, right? It's like these people are my treasures. It's their place in my life is beautiful. So we have to like see the beauty of people instead of like the beauty of what people can do for us or what they can give to us or what they can perform for us. We got to say like, Jeff, you're the treasure, dude. Yeah. Like you're a gift to me.
Yeah. I appreciate that thought, brother. And I love that because if someone's listening, and we'll kind of wrap it up here, but if someone's listening, wondering where to start and how do I do this? It seems like a lot of work to call everybody out and encourage everyone, but you start with the one in front of you, right? And you show that same concern, that same heart of the Father to the person sitting right next to you today, or maybe it's the person you're driving to meet right now, or the person you're going to see in about 10, 15 minutes, or the person that you're going to first talk to after you listen to this podcast. But
or maybe even this, Jeff, maybe even yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a lot of people that like don't believe God can use them. They say a lot of terrible things to themselves in their own minds all the time. And they need to kind of like see the person in the mirror as someone that has value too.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I mean, I think sometimes we pendulum swing so hard away from pride that we actually like self-deprecate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that lack like seeing their own value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The same text applies, right? If you're the eye or the foot or the whoever's listening, you are a member of the body, highly valued and loved by our Papa. And so we just want to extend an invitation in that kind of same vein that you are so valued. We would love to connect with whoever's listening. If you're not plugged in yet to Creo, we have a lot of people that would love to meet you and hear your story and just come alongside. If you're suffering through something, we want to suffer with you. If you're celebrating something, we definitely want to party with you and raise a glass of kombucha. Whatever the case might be, we want to come alongside them, right, Mike?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, and we will do our best. I think it's the key is we need to like move toward it together. I had someone just yesterday that I had to apologize to because they've sent me 3 or 4 different messages asking questions about connecting with things around Creo. And I just kept missing their messages, or I'd see it and then like not get back to responding to it. Mm-hmm. And I just want to reiterate what you're saying, Jeff. We really desire connecting with you, even if sometimes we suck at it.
Yeah.
And we really like want to journey with you and believe in it. And we're imperfect, but man, like we really want to walk with each other and create and make things go
Yeah.
and hear each other's stories, and we're committed to it. So lean into it with us.
Yeah.
You know,
And
let's pursue each other. Let's go after it together.
Mike, you're the hippie guy, so people know like it's hard to respond to all the time. That's why we have our website, Mike. So I'm just gonna give them the website. We'll connect.
Give them the website.
All will be good. I will be. You keep being your hippie, drinking your kombucha, and all. Here's the website, gang. So we have.
You know what, Jeff? They can connect with us on creocollective.org/create.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. If anybody,
you didn't see that coming, did you?
I did not see that coming. If you listen to this podcast, I've asked Mike for several weeks to share our website, and he's never done that. So, Mike, I'm just blown away. I don't even know who you are anymore. This is so strange, so strange. But you hit it right on the head, bro.
Man of mysteries.
Oh my goodness, you are. You're such a conundrum. You are the conundrum. So as our hippie, non-hippie, detailed hippie, I don't even know what to call you anymore. We are going to have an amazing time connecting. So yes, at that website, creocollective.org/create, there's a little box on there. It says connect. And if you want to meet with us over a Zoom call, you hit that connect box, schedule a time, and voila. We do that. And we would love, there's all these, I don't know, tons of things, events and the blogs on there, the YouTube channel, but there's no excuse. We want to connect with you. So please do that so we can honor each other, suffer and celebrate together. Mike, any parting words, brother?
No, that's it. Peace.
Peace, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day creating for Jesus together.